The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
Ganja my meditation, ganja my brain. Ganja we take away my stress and strain. Ganja my meditation, ganja in my brain. Marijuana take away my stress and pain. Ganja in my meditation, ganja in my brain. Marijuana take away the stress and pain. Ganja is the medication, ganja is the cure. Police of them a fight the marijuana for sure. Purify me heavens and they make me feel pure. And the way the cali we be bring it on door. Ganja in the meditation, ganja in my clothes. No offense, I'm fucking another one around you.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Ganja News Update for this Monday, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. May the 4th, 2026, here on NOK Network, and this is episode 165. This is the video news podcast focused on cannabis news being reported in mainstream media. And I'm joined by my amazing joint host, Tara Simpson, right on over here. And good morning, Tara. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Ron. It's been a busy week. As you know, I was up in Hamilton all last week helping my daughter and her partner with the new baby, my grandbaby. So it was kind of a busy week, and it took me away from home for a little while. And then when I did get home, then it was playing catch up from being away, because there's always things to catch up on when you get home. Right. Yeah, including going to the gym. I mean, I spent almost a week off pre-Canna Crawl because I was busy doing all of that stuff and getting ready for that event, and then away all that weekend hanging out with you and Kim and the crew. And then, Courtney had the baby on the 23rd. And he's just over a week old now, and he is cute as can be. So I was up there getting all my baby love in and snuggles and helping mom and dad, figure things out, because being a new parent is trying at the best of times, let alone when you don't have any support. So I was there to be their support and help them out. And, I sent her back to bed one morning and just said, here, give me the bottle, and off you go. You go back to bed for a bit.
I remember those days. Those days. They were a while ago, though. The new parent, for me, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know. My youngest will be 26. She'll be 26 in December. So it's been a long time since I've had a little one to kind of snuggle and take care of. So that was kind of nice.
But grandbabies are nice. My wife and I, we got three grandbabies of our own. So.
Yeah, this is my first and might be my only one. Just saying, after 24 hours of labor, I don't think she wants to repeat that anytime soon. Right. And while my son, he just isn't a baby person. Right. And so I don't foresee that happening.
Right. Some people aren't.
Yeah.
No. But anyways, I've had a great week. And that, been busy gardening, and my wife got onions planted yesterday. She got 2 rows. Got one of the garden beds. She got 2 rows all tilled in by hand with some chicken manure and all that. And mended the beds with some bone meal and Gaia green, and then planted her onions.
Amazing.
We're going to do some gardening today. Most likely it's going to be warm, 18 degrees, sunny. So
fantastic.
So anyways, I guess we should probably get into our top stories in cannabis news. We've got some big stories again this week on the tail of the big stories we had last week. We got some follow-ups with regards to some of that. Our second 2 stories are follow-ups on that regard. Our first story, though, we have coming to you is coming to us from StratCan, and it is multi-packs are reshaping Canada's cannabis edibles market. And this is published by Jonathan Hiltz on April the 29th of this year. And a little bit ago, we did report on packaging changes for edibles. And so this story here is going on to say, now that this has been around for a little while, this is what the retailers and customers have to say about that change. So in less than a year, edibles sold in multi-packs have gone from a niche format to a defining force, changing how consumers buy, how retailers stock, and how brands compete. What started as a regulatory adjustment has quickly become one of the most meaningful shifts the category has seen since legalization. Some say some familiar with the category. Multi-packs have grown from just 2% of category sales to 28% in under a year, says Matt Wolk, sales director at Ollie Brands. That's a huge jump. 2%, 8%. That's huge. And he goes on here to say, quoting him, it says, that's not just growth. That's a fundamental shift in how consumers are shopping for edibles, right? That's just not like going from 2% to maybe 3 or 4 or even 5 or 6. Like we're talking about 20%. Like it's a huge shift right across the country in this particular market. That kind of share movement in a regulated category is rare, and it usually signals something more permanent than a passing trend. The big question is whether multi-packs are expanding the market or simply reorganizing it. And there's another quote here saying, honestly, it's mostly been a win for existing customers rather than some flood of new faces, said retail cannabis ops manager Ashton Faulkner. What I've noticed is that the transaction value on edibles has gone up, and people who are already buying gummies every week aren't grabbing one pack. They're grabbing a multi-pack and coming back less often, but spending more when they do. And that kind of makes sense. If you're able to buy a bigger pack of something, you're going to buy the bigger pack, even though you're going to be spending more than what you traditionally did before. Right. Matter of convenience. You're not having to go to the store every week, right?
Yeah, or even every couple of days, right? Because some of those other little packs might only have a couple of edibles in them. And then, you've got to go back in a few days if you eat them all. So if you can get a multi-pack, why wouldn't you? The multi-pack has been around in legacy for a very long time.
Right.
When you can go to a legacy event and buy, a pack of 30 gummies or 100 gummies, or, I've seen them in multi-packs that way for a long time. So great that they're finally allowing OCS to have multi-packs.
100%.
Because that's what consumers want. And if you listen to your consumers, then your business is going to thrive more and your patients are going to be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So multi-packs aren't driving discovery, they're driving efficiency. Frequent buyers are consolidating purchases into fewer, higher value transactions, bringing cannabis edibles closer to a traditional consumer packaged goods behavior. At the same time, single pack sales have declined over that same period, which tells us multi-packs aren't just bringing in new consumers, they're also shifting existing customers into higher value formats, Woke said. Consumers are choosing convenience, stronger value, and products they can return to multiple times rather than a single one-time purchase. Where the format does expand the market is in occasion-based purchasing, which is a segment that previously didn't have a natural product fit. I've seen people go for a 10-pack when they're heading to the cabin for the weekend or want something to share, Faulkner said. That customer was always around, but before they were buying 2 or 3 single packs at the counter, which felt awkward and looked like a lot of product. One tidy package changes that framing. It feels intentional rather than excessive. And let's face it, I mean, that's kind of a waste of packaging when you get one little edible in this great big bag, right? And you have to buy 4 or 5 of them because you're going away for the weekend. Right. When you could just get a pack of 5 in one package.
Exactly.
Like more sense, right?
It's like when people go to the cabin, are they go into the corner store and buying a bunch of single packs of Skittles? No, right. They're going to, well, a lot of corner stores have the large packs too, but they're going to the Walmart or whatever to get the best price and getting the large multi-pack in there.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly. It goes, whether it's an edible or a non-infused product, people want the biggest package for the value, right?
Exactly.
So this makes sense. And again, they're not idiots. They're not going to necessarily go home and eat the whole bag and something bad's going to happen to them. I mean, they might green out, but they'll live and learn, as we all have. Or they're sharing it with friends, right? Just like people share beers, people like to share edibles with their friends when they're all sitting around the campfire. So it makes sense to allow that. And that was something that we never agreed with when they said, oh, it can only be this one piece per package, right? We're like, what?
It never made sense to me.
No. So it's cool that it's shifting, because the shift reframes cannabis from a series of individual purchases into something more social, shareable, and normalized. And for retailers, the financial impact has been immediate. Last year, the single pieces dragged down average order value at my store. The launch of these products has brought AOV back up into this category, said Eric Chittum, VP of Supply Chain at True North Cannabis Co. Multi-packs have carved out a substantial share of the edible category. Soft chews are about 90% of the edible market. The challenge from a stocking perspective is balancing the need for single units, multi-packs, and 5-packs within the soft chew category. When a single format dominates 90% of a category, a structural change inside it has ripple effect. Multi-packs have added SKUs, but they've also forced retailers to rethink shelf strategy, inventory allocation, and assortment balance. Multi-packs versus the illicit advantage. For years, the legal edible market struggled to compete with the illicit market on potency and value. Multi-packs don't solve both, but they meaningfully address one. Price is still the elephant in the room. Let's not pretend otherwise, Faulkner said. But the multi-pack does close a real irritation point, which is that buying legal edibles used to feel almost penalizing. When you'd pay more per unit for the exact same experience, you could get cheaper and in bigger quantity elsewhere. Faulkner added that multi-packs don't fix the price gap entirely, but they do make a per piece math a lot easier to justify when a customer sees that they're getting 10 pieces for a price that at least starts to compete. The conversation shifts a bit. It's not converting hardcore illicit market buyers overnight, but at least holding on to people who were on the fence. In a category where retention is often more valuable than acquisition, that matters. And again, like we said, I mean, we've been in the legacy industry for a very long time, and you've always been able to get, like a single gummy, or in some cases, there could be 100 pieces in that pack that are all maybe 20 milligrams a piece, but that's still a multi-pack, and people want that bigger value. It's, and for the price, right? So at least OCS is starting to wise up.
Right.
It'll be a long time.
Right. Walk sees this as the more important long-term story. Historically, one of the biggest reasons consumers turned to the black market for edibles was potency. They wanted higher dose products and better overall value, and the legal market often struggled to compete with that under the original regulation restrictions, he said. Multi-packs are helping close that gap. If licensed producers can offer stronger formats that better match those expectations, there's a real opportunity to further eat into market share from illicit channels rather than just competing harder against each other. But for all, the innovation around format pricing still seemingly determines success. Any multi-pack above $20 taxes in struggles. Any multi-pack below succeeds, Chittum said. And that's the case with most. We know one retailer in the legacy side, Seed to Smoke. They have their products set at a certain price point that they know are going to sell, right? Mm-hmm. And why would you have products priced at a point where you know that they're going to be sitting on the shelf longer or forever that aren't going to move, right?
Right.
So I can see the $20 mark as being an easy number there. Our customers have been selecting LPs Our customers have been selecting which LPs and brands to stock up on. It really has to do with price. He added that flavors and brands are very location specific. From the brand side, multi-packs are less about experimentation and more about amplification. We're not asking consumers to try something new. Instead, we're giving them the option to buy more of what they love in a format that fits how they actually shop, said Panos Giannopoulos, brand manager at Kronos. That positioning of more of the same, just better packaged, is exactly why the format is scaling so quickly. But one unintended consequence of multi-packs is how they're interpreted by customers, especially the newer ones. The packaging rules haven't changed what's inside. Each piece is still 10 milligrams. And if a customer doesn't read carefully, a multi-pack can look like one product rather than 10 individual doses, said Faulkner. I've seen a few conversations at the counter where someone picks up a 10-pack and genuinely thinks it's a single serving product with a lot of pieces in it, not 10 separate occasions. Faulkner added that the shift has put more responsibility on bud tenders to have that conversation up front, especially with newer or older customers who might not have much edible experience. Giannopoulos echoes the need for consistent messaging. The start low, go slow principle, and the reminder that edibles can take 30 to 90 minutes to take effect needs to show up at every touch point at retail and through our amazing bud tender partners, he said. As formats evolve, education becomes less of a compliance exercise and more of a frontline responsibility. But despite their momentum, multi-packs haven't solved everything, most notably potency limits. For me, I think the change was overdue, and it's largely been positive, said Faulkner. Where I'd love to see things go next is more flexibility on potency per unit. 10 milligrams is still quite conservative for experienced customers, and the multi-pack doesn't solve that. You can buy more pieces, but you can't buy a stronger one. That's the next conversation worth having. That limitation may ultimately define the ceiling of the format. Multi-packs improve value and convenience, but they don't fully address what high-dose consumers are still seeking elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's what we've been saying. I mean, 10 milligrams is nothing. I mean, to maybe like, my grandma or someone who's never eaten an edible, 10 milligrams is going to knock them on their ass and send them through a loop. But for someone like me, 100 milligrams is, okay, that's going to help me sleep tonight. I mean, I'm not going to be comatose, but I'm actually going to get a restful sleep. So if you had to pay $20 for that at the store on a daily basis, and you have to eat 10 of these damn gummies to get your 100 milligrams, that's diabetes in the making. That's why can we not trust our consumers to be like, okay, each piece is 30 milligrams and I usually only take 10, so I'm going to take a third of this gummy, right? We trust them with a bottle of Tylenol to dose themselves. Why is this any different? And why are you
a bottle of alcohol to dose themselves?
Right. There's no warnings on there that says, each shot may cause impairment. Like,
yeah, where are those warnings?
Right.
Where are those warnings?
Right.
Why don't we have it on there?
Right. And we know alcohol is far more dangerous than cannabis. So like, make it make sense. Why are we treating cannabis consumers like they're 2-year-olds that need to be micromanaged?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. A structural.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know we got to move on, but just from the recreational standpoint, it's been legalized since 2018. We're now 2026. So we've had enough time within the legalization period to be satisfied that 10 milligrams is a fairly low dose, but some people may still find it a little bit much because of how their body reacts. But I agree. There should be more choice available out there, seeing that we're 8 years into legalization.
Yeah. And again, putting the responsibility on bud tenders to be like, hey, just so you know, each piece is this. But they're not allowed to say as much as we do in legacy. I mean, I can have an entire in-depth conversation with my consumers and explain to them the dosing of each product, how to use it correctly, especially if they're newer to edibles versus someone who's like, hey, I've had your stuff before. Give me the 500 milligram pack, right? So you have more flexibility, but in the legal market, they've taken that flexibility away from the bud tenders to be able to give adequate advice that they're quite capable of giving safely. Because of what? Why are we not allowed to educate our consumers in OCS land, but we can in legacy, right?
Some bud tenders actually do. They go against the rules.
Right. And I admire them for that because they're doing their job. As far as I'm concerned, you're giving someone a product, you should be able to educate them on the facts of, how strong this is, what the outcome could be. If you do get the green outs, well, here's a few tips, right? Been there, done that, go lay down, eat a bag of chips, just don't try and drive. You'll be fine. Call your friend, tell her you're high on gummies, there's many things to mitigate this. You'll get through it. Right. A structural shift, not a trend. For producers like Ollie, the bet is clear. We now have 9 multi-packs across several of our core brands with 5 exciting new multi-packs launching this summer. It's clear this is not just a short-term trend for us. It's a major part of our long-term growth strategy, Woke said. Chittum also noted that multi-packs have carved out a substantial category share. For secondary market consumers, we have seen the adoption of these multi-packs across demographics and locations. They account for 40% of all sales now. For years, the legal edible market struggled to compete on the fundamentals, including value, convenience, and repeat purchase behavior. Multi-packs don't solve everything, but it's a big step in the right direction.
Right, and hopefully over time we'll see regulations loosen.
I hope so.
More.
Well, I do and I don't, because if it loosens, that affects my friends in legacy, right? And their mission to, keep legacy alive, because that's what patients want. And patients like to be able to come and see in the packaging. I mean, most packaging has clear windows on it and all these things that are just now starting to come into OCS. There's so many things that we've done, and we built that industry just for the government to come in and muddle it all up and do it all wrong, right? So we kind of have a chip on our shoulder about it, and we care about the patients that are out there that aren't able to access the products that they need and desire through the legal realm. So until things really take a great big shift, legacy is never going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
And then you'll have some people who just like the legacy products better, because let's face it, I've tried some of the legal industry edibles at some of the legal expos and stuff. They're gross. Yeah.
There's most of them that I've tried. I haven't tried many, and I agree with you. There's a couple. There's one brand in particular that's really good though. It tastes just like a regular candy to me.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it is, but it doesn't really matter. But I can taste the weed in it a little bit, but the texture and taste overall is they've got it bang on. But some of the other ones, I'm like, who designed this? Who developed?
Who decided this was a good taste and texture together, right?
Right.
Call me an edible snob because I do it all, that's what I do, right? I make edibles and I make really good stuff and things that people absolutely love. So when I try other people's stuff, I tend to be much more skeptical. And I think I am a little bit of an edible snob, but you like what you like. And that's also the same thing with legacy versus OCS is you're going to have people that won't go to legacy because it's illegal. So they'll buy at OCS and they'll suck it up and do their 10 milligrams for whatever it is they charge and whatever. But then you're going to have other people like me that are like, nah, the stuff out there is garbage. I know what I want. And they're going to keep going to the legacy providers that they've been using for long before OCS came into effect, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. Consumers know what they want. If you listen to your consumers, you can't go wrong.
Exactly. So anyways, we got our next story here. Do you mind starting this one off for us?
Yeah, so this one comes to us from marijuanamoment.net. DEA will start accepting applications from medical marijuana businesses that want federal rescheduling protections this week. And this was published on April 27th of this year by Tom Angel. The Drug Enforcement Administration has announced that it will begin accepting applications this week for medical marijuana businesses to apply for federal protections being granted under the Trump administration's cannabis rescheduling process. The agency's medical marijuana dispensary registration portal is set to go live on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The move follows last week's announcement by the Department of Justice that marijuana is being moved from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act in phases. Under an order signed by Acting Attorney General Blanche on Thursday, marijuana products regulated by state medical cannabis license will immediately move to Schedule 3, as will any marijuana products that are approved by the Food and Drug Administration. State licensed medical cannabis dispensaries that want to take advantage of new legal protections that come with Schedule 3 status will first have to fill out an application with DEA that asks for information about their processes for storage, ordering, dispensing, inventory, maintenance of records, and other aspects of their business. The application specifically asks about security measures such as vaults, safes, secure storage rooms, access controls, alarm systems, and on-site security personnel. Applicants can choose whether they are requesting to handle marijuana extracts or naturally derived Delta-9 THC. While only medical marijuana is currently being moved to Schedule 3, the application also asks potential registrants whether their firm handles or dispenses recreational marijuana. Under last week's DOJ order, there will be an expedited administrative hearing process to consider the broader rescheduling of cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 beginning June 29th. The DEA application, meanwhile, also asks businesses to submit information about their state cannabis licenses and to answer questions about criminal or disciplinary histories. They must additionally list suppliers from which they intend to procure marijuana and to disclose whether they anticipate repackaging or relabeling cannabis products. Wow, so that's a thing now, eh?
Yeah. Applicants also need to provide lists of individuals with the businesses that are anticipated to have access to controlled substances, including their dates of birth, social security numbers, criminal histories related to drugs. There is also an annual $794 application fee, currently only payable via PayPal through DEA, says we anticipate having additional forms of payment in the coming weeks. Application fees are not refundable. Blanche's rescheduling order last week said that to align with an international drug control treaty requirement that a government agency serve as the exclusive purchaser of cannabis production, DOJ is rolling out a process by which federal government will technically purchase marijuana from producers and then sell it back to them or related entities. So look at that. The government is going to become the biggest weed dealer.
Surprise, surprise, right?
Like, surprise.
Yeah.
This is what we've been saying all along. And
yeah, it's only safe if the government does it, right? Like, that's the only way that marijuana is like safe and effective, is if the government deals with it.
Right.
Even though we've been doing it for a long time.
Right. Registered manufacturers must store crops in a facility to which DEA maintains access until that transaction is complete. And each manufacturer registration must specify the areas in which cultivation is permitted, it said. All manufacturers registered under this subsection shall establish a nominal price for the purchase of their marijuana crops. The administration shall then purchase the entity's crops at that price and sell the crops back to the entity or a related or subsidiary entity at the same price, with the addition of the administrative fee as calculated under Part 1318.06A. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of the Treasury and Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, said they plan to issue new tax guidance for the marijuana industry following the rescheduling announcement. And we got some information coming up on that with our next story after this one. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said that the administration is moving forward with marijuana rescheduling because cannabis reform is overwhelmingly popular with voters and because doing so will help people who need access to the drug for medical purposes. During a press event in the Oval Office last week, President Donald Trump spoke about the medical benefits of marijuana. A lot of people are suffering from big problems, which this seems to be the best answer, he said. They're very happy about it, so the rescheduling is starting, and that's a big thing, rescheduling. The president noted that his administration's actions on cannabis rescheduling came after his friend Howard Kessler told him about how he used medical marijuana. He had some medical difficulties, and he came upon this by accident, in a way, he said. He had to go through a lot of different medications and said this was the one that was much better than anything else. And so he experienced that. He didn't benefit by it other than from the standpoint that he lives a much better life now. So hopefully you don't need it, Trump said, but if you do need it, I hear it's the best of all the alternatives. It's the original medicine. It's not an alternative medicine. It's the original, right?
Right.
Separately, the president called on Congress to take action to amend a law that threatens to federally recriminalize hemp-derived full-spectrum CBD products later this year. We must get this done right and fast, especially for those who saw that CBD helps them, he said in a social media post. Plus, I am told it will also help our great farmers, who we love and will always be there for. But yet you're going to be charging them an administrative fee to buy back their own product and make it make sense. Days earlier, Trump had complained that federal officials were slow walking following through on his cannabis order. So, there's that update there.
And then people wonder why legal marijuana costs so much.
Right. All this regulation and
because everyone wants a piece of the pie all the way down the chain, right? Yep. So that gets carried on to the consumer. Whereas if they just allowed farm to sale table sales, right, from small manufacturers, small producers, right, it's so much cheaper and people will be healthier for it. But again, then they don't get their little cut and they need that cut, right? It's all about the money. It has nothing to do with our actual health. They could give a rat's ass if we're healthy or not.
Right.
As long as they're getting their tax dollars. And that's the same reason alcohol's still around. That's the same reason that cigarettes that are so horribly toxic and carcinogen full that we still allow people to smoke them and purchase them.
Yeah.
As long as the government gets their tax dollars, they don't care.
Right. So I know time is moving on. This next story is fairly quick. I think we should be able to cover it, and then we'll go to break. I know time is. If we may not get through all our stories today, that's fine. We'll just skip one for next week if we need to. But this one here is coming to us from Normal, and this is following up on one of the little bullet points we were talked about in the last story. The Treasury Department says tax guidance is forthcoming for state licensed medical cannabis businesses. And this is written by Normal on April the 30th. So yeah, now that this decision has been made, we're seeing the ball rolling and all the little pieces of the puzzle that has to get pulled out of the box and aligned. Right now we're seeing all the outer edges being put together, right? Yeah. And then you're going to see all the inner pieces, and then hopefully there's not going to be too many missing pieces to fill in afterwards. But this story here goes on to say, it's coming out of Washington, D.C. The U.S. Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service will soon be providing explicit tax guidance for state licensed medical cannabis businesses so that they can ease their federal tax burden. The agencies announced their intentions in a press release issued one day after the acting attorney general's order to reschedule state authorized medical cannabis products from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act. Treasury and IRS expect DOJ's action to have significant positive tax consequences for businesses in the medical marijuana industry, and Treasury and the IRS plan to issue guidance to address the principal federal tax issues stemming from the final order, the release states. Rescheduling generally removes Section 280E as a bar to claiming deductions and credits for businesses that are, as a result of the final order, no longer traffic in Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substances under the CSA. Guidance is expected to clarify the ways in which, for businesses with multiple activities, Section 280E applies only to those activities related to trafficking in Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substances. Guidance is also expected to include a transition rule providing that for purposes of Section 280E, rescheduling generally will be considered to first apply for a business's full taxable year that includes the effective date of the final order. And historically, state licensed cannabis operators have been prohibited from taking standard tax deductions, thereby artificially inflating their costs of doing business. So this is going to open up a lot of stuff for businesses in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week, the Attorney General's office and the DEA ordered state licensed medical cannabis products to be rescheduled under federal law. The order also created a new registration pathway for state authorized businesses to register with the federal government. The DEA launched an online portal on Wednesday to begin accepting applications. The Attorney General's office also announced last week that there will be administrative hearings before the DEA in late June to determine whether to advance a pending recommendation to move all botanical cannabis products from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Prior hearings on the proposed rule scheduled for last year failed to take place following the issuance of an innocutory appeal. Those hearings have now been terminated. Persons seeking to participate in the new hearings must be either adversely affected or aggrieved by the proposed rule, and they must apply to the DEA by May 24th to be considered.
Right. So, things are moving ahead.
Absolutely.
Early or quickly or whatever. We'll see how this all progresses.
Yeah.
But how we're going to progress right now in the show is it's medication time.
That's right, folks. It's time to pay some bills. So stay tuned for a word from some of our amazing sponsors, and then we'll return with more articles making mainstream media news.
And we'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. In fact, 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on Ganja News Update on NOK Network. Cheers.
Hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimated Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyndinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set. One dab, only really need one dab. One dab.
Smoke Signal is a medical dispensary where you can get all your products and needs.
Vaping a whole bunch. Might just start laying up the blunts. God. Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram. Go and hold it in, feel it in your ribs.
So come and check us out in Tyndinaga. 55 Highway 49 in Tyndinaga. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Join us for NOK Network monthly specials, 12 months a year, movie nights, spotlights on entertainment, and live on location coverage. Stay up to date about upcoming programming by subscribing to NOK Network on Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Facebook. Check out our webpage at www.noknetwork.com.
Dirty Dave, award-winning cultivator for over 4 decades. Dirty Dave, prized genetics fueled by advanced nutrients, original OG organics.
Everybody must get stoned. Yeah, well, they stone you when you're walking down the street. They stone you when you're trying.
Dirty Dave, award-winning products available at these fine establishments.
But I would not feel so alone.
Ask your shop to carry Dirty Dave. Contact us at dirtiesdoggies@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the show in our regular program.
Welcome back. We're back from our medication session live here on Ganja News Updates on NOK Network.
That's right. We have another set of stories coming at you. So, making cannabis news. So, let's get at it. And our next story here is a really cool one. And Kim actually sent this one into the chat for the show here. And I read it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. This story is coming to us from Good News Network. I like that name, Good News Network. Scientists unveil hemp alternative to plastic that can withstand boiling water and stretch to 1,600% its size. And this story is written by the Good News Network on May the 2nd of this year. Story goes on to say a surprisingly robust yet green alternative to plastic packaging has been developed from the hemp plant, an age-old form of the cannabis plant that doesn't get people high. The non-toxic plastic alternative is a stretchy thermoplastic that can extend up to 1,600% of its size. The material also has a high glass transition temperature, a quality that allows plastics to stay durable when it comes into contact with boiling hot water, according to a study published this week in the journal Chem Circularity. And there's a clickable link to the study right there. Very few, if any, plastics made from natural resources have this quality, said study co-author, University of Connecticut professor Gregory Sotzing in a media release. The research team hopes that cannabidiol, CBD, from the hemp flower can replace bisphenol A, the synthetic industrial chemical found in today's processed plastics, because bisphenol A is a known endocrine disruptor, meaning it can disturb the delicate balance of our hormones. And we've known that for a number of years now. And
Absolutely.
And it's
in everything. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of products that is in from stuff we even wear on our skin, right? So this is huge.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of water bottles and that are made with bisphenol A, and if you were looking for stuff that does not have it in, you'll usually see a logo that will say BPA free.
Right. Though you have to wonder, then what are they using to make it beyond that? If they're not using that, what else is in that new product that doesn't have the BPA?
Maybe it's almost as harmful, but not quite.
Right. I mean, the only true way to get away from it is to use glass, because glass doesn't contain it, or hemp. Right. And we've been saying for a long time that hemp is the new way to do things, from building supplies to clothing. I mean, hemp clothing's been around longer than anything, but we know that we can build hemp buildings.
Levi's even has, I don't know about now, but Levi Strauss, they've had hemp jeans.
Hemp fiber. Yeah. I
don't know if it's full hemp. I think it's a mix, but still.
Good on them for getting into a more durable and sustainable and less harmful product to their consumers, right? So Professor Stozing says that the hemp material is suitable for producing transparent plastic films, coatings, and other common materials currently made from petroleum-based materials such as polyethylene terephthalate, which is PET, which is widely used in single-use water bottles, food packaging, and substrates for flexible electronics. Those applications require medium to high temperature stability and melt processability, so the material can be formed and shaped, which the team has achieved in a hemp-based polycarbonate for the first time. Co-author Dr. Murkuram Kakmak of Purdue University said their work has established CBD-based polycarbonate as sustainable replacements for widely used thermoplastics such as PET. We have developed a rigorous processing science framework that links molecular architecture to melt processability orientation, development, and stretchability without compromising manufacturability. Dr. Kakmak explained that PET requires large quantities of fossil fuels, specifically crude oil and natural gas, and once discarded, breaks down into tiny particles called microplastics that leach chemicals, including PET, into water, air, and food, which are linked to inflammation and cell damage. While scientists have been searching for greener alternatives to PET, most polymers made from plant or plant waste lack hemp's glass transition temperature and stretchability, and are more expensive to produce, especially with oil and gas prices skyrocketing. The catalysts used to produce bio-based plastics have also usually required high temperatures and have posed challenges for catalyst removal and final product purification, making them impractical for large-scale production. To overcome the challenge, Prof. Sozings and his colleagues used hemp, which was finally legalized in the US in 2019, to develop plastic film and test processing parameters that give it the right structure and properties for widespread use. This polycarbonate has, as a smooth film, very high angle with water. We were not expecting our poly CBD carbonate to have a higher contact angle than most polyfillins or thermoplastics. He added the materials with these properties can also be used as nanoparticles for drug delivery and for catheter coatings. The researchers are also working to develop a version of hemp-derived plastic with greater mechanical strength and to pilot a scaled-up version of their manufacturing process. Not enough CBD is currently being produced worldwide to fully replace PET for plastics, according to the study, but with hemp becoming a popular material in clothing, building, and food product, its cultivation is on the rise, and it's a fast-growing weed. And there's a clickable link there if you guys want to read up on the CBD for hemp kills mosquitoes. That's interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
Prof. Sotzing says that the plant can be grown across a wide range of climates with relatively little water and little to no pesticides, and it can be rotated with corn, soybeans, and other food crops, making it a versatile choice for farmers, helping to revitalize their fields. Right. And I do know a few years back, out where I live, out in this area, there were tons of hemp farms. Tons. Like, it was growing everywhere along these farmers' fields, and there were great big signs that says, "This is not marijuana, it's hemp. It's not going to get you hot," kind of thing. Because there was massive fields of it. And that was around the time that, I don't know what happened. I think it was a big government initiative to get people growing hemp for CBD. And then something happened in the market. And it just wasn't worth what they thought it was going to be. So all the farmers said, "Up yours," and didn't grow it the following year or the year after, and really haven't since. So I'm not sure of all the logistics there, but that would have been around 2019 to 2020 that was like a big thing around here. And now I haven't seen any. So
yeah, I know there's a lot of hemp farmers out in Manitoba.
Mm-hmm.
There's a product out on the grocery store shelves with the name Manitoba on it, Manitoba hemp or something like that.
Right.
Hemp seeds that you buy. Like
hemp seeds are very good for your
hemp hearts.
Yeah, hemp hearts. Yeah. Very good for everything. They're a great food supplement.
Right. So interesting to see with what hemp can do, right?
Yeah, I'd really like to see them get rid of all those, BPA and PET products.
Right.
We know that they're causing everyone problems, from the environment to people's actual physical health. So why are they still on the market?
Yep. Apparently not enough hemp is being grown. So let's grow some more hemp, boys, right?
But I mean, if they know it's not harmful to our health, why are they allowing these to be processed, manufactured, and put on our shelves? Because our government doesn't give two shits about our health. It's all about the tax dollars they're receiving from those same manufacturers they're allowing to poison us. That's what it comes down to, and it's sad, but it's reality.
And all the money that's coming from the lobbyists
Right.
to prevent hemp from getting further, and cannabis and all of the beneficial things.
Yeah.
In protection of the alcohol industry, tobacco industry, pharmaceutical industry, everything.
Yeah.
So there's some of the gatekeepers there too. So anyways, we're gonna do one last story here for the day, for the evening here, and it's a pretty cool one. This one here is coming to us from Marijuana Moment. Chinese researchers reveal ancient use of cannabis as indisposable crop that was deeply integrated into daily life. Published April 28th of this year by Kyle Jaeger. China's agricultural industry with cannabis is deeper than previously believed, with a new study placing the staple crop among the 5 grains, along rice and barley. That's a typo there. Rice and barley, for example, that were foundational to the ancient Eurasian economy and deeply integrated into the daily lives of inhabitants. For the study, published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, researchers at Shandong University conducted phytolith extraction analysis of 132 samples found in Beitashang and Qianzhou Zitu settlements dating back to the late Neolithic era. The results showed that by that point, cannabis had become a core crop in northern China, primarily used for food or fiber. The study authors, who also listed affiliations with the Chinese Ministry of Education, the Institute of Cultural Relics and Archaeology of Shandong Province, and other institutions in China, said the samples they analyzed suggest that cannabis has been systematically integrated into the local agricultural economy, becoming a key component of the core crop assemblage in northern China by at least the late Neolithic era, or by at least the late Neolithic. Part of the reason the discovery seems to reflect a broader agricultural integration of the crop is because samples were collected from archaeological features such as ash pits, floors, and foundations in small to medium-sized settlements in the Shandong region, which provides valuable insights into the role of cannabis in the local agricultural economy. The story goes on here to say, finding cannabis in these specific types of ancient features reflects daily seed processing and consumption activities at the household level, the study says. At the Beitazhang site, cannabis phytoliths were found in 22 out of the 32 samples, 68.8% in the Longshan period. At the Zongzitu site, cannabis phytoliths were identified in 47 of the 65 samples, or 72.3% from the Longshan period. And in 16 out of the 31 samples, 51.6% from the Yuxi period, it says. There's a quote here saying, our study demonstrates that cannabis had already become one of the 5 grains, rice, millet, barley, soybean, and cannabis since the Longshan period in Shandong, as evidenced by systematic phytolith analysis. The analysis of the archaeological context further reveals that cannabis processing and consumption were deeply integrated into the daily lives of the inhabitants, making it an indispensable component of their agricultural sustenance. This finding fundamentally challenges the previous underestimation of cannabis' status based on limited organic remains and reaffirms its significant role in the agricultural economy of prehistoric northern China. Wow.
Yeah. The study, funded by the National Social Science Foundation of China, which is part of the country's Ministry of Science and Technology, suggests that cannabis processing and consumption were deeply integrated into daily life, the researchers said. Unlike in other archaeological records indicating that psychoactive cannabis was typically associated with burial and ritual contexts across Eurasia, including psychoactive shoots, inflorescences, and teeves of cannabis found in Bronze Age Xinjiang tombs. These latest findings reflect clear differences in both unearthed contexts and plant parts, emphasizing the more daily and subsistence-oriented use of cannabis in Shandong. This study focuses on the fiber-type cannabis for experimentation and analysis, as the drug-type cannabis is strictly regulated in most countries due to its psychoactive compounds, the study concluded. And to that point, one of the study authors, Yang Ji, told Marijuana Moments in an email that the researchers stand against the abusive use of cannabis as a drug. In this regard, we are fully aligned with China's stance on drug control, she said. China's strict anti-drug policies have also extended to low THC hemp and its derivatives like CBD. In 2024, for example, the U.S. Department of Agriculture advised stakeholders about a policy change in China that imposed tighter regulations on cannabidiol. Though it said at the time that the rules were expected to benefit the industry. Meanwhile, in respect to the evolution of human relationships with the cannabis plant, in 2023 paper in the European journal. Oh shit! I lost it. Hang on. I did something here.
I can carry on if you want.
Yeah, because I just lost
a 2023 paper in the European Journal of Chemistry.
Yeah.
Traced the history of the crop through thousands of years of contact with mankind, noting the plant's legacy as a source of fiber, nutrition, medicine, spirituality, and pleasure. And there's a clickable link there. An ancient biblical tribe in Israel also likely used marijuana to produce hallucinogenic effects as part of cultural rituals, according to a 2020 study that identified cannabis resin on an altar in a shrine built around 750 BCE. And that's wow, great information coming out there from China. So this is not cannabis that gets you high. They're talking about hemp.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, we kind of already knew that. I mean, it's been used for long before people think it has, right?
Yeah.
In different contexts, in different rituals, in different places in the world. Cannabis is not a new plant. It's been around long before any of us were here or even our grandparents were here. So, again, what's with the prohibition?
It's been illegal less than the time that it's been
actually
legal.
used.
Like, well, there should be no legal or illegal, in my opinion.
No, like, it's plant.
Yeah. Are dandelions legal or illegal? I don't know. Maybe they are in some places.
Maybe, yeah. Well, they are good for you.
My wife makes dandelion jelly. Some people make dandelion wine.
Yep, dandelion tea. I mean, dandelion's actually very good for you. It's full of all sorts of antioxidants, and it also has been shown to help kill some cancers. So,
and dandelion leaves are great in salads.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy mixed green salads in the grocery store. The bagged salads or the packaged salads that have dandelion greens in them.
I know.
And here's an interesting fact about the dandelion. The weed that everybody gets rid of, like there's companies out there that attack specifically the dandelions because people don't like seeing the dandelions or any weed for that matter. But It's the dandelions, I think, that bother them the most. But yet every single part of the dandelion is edible.
Yes. And has different health benefits.
Not just usable for something like for making extracts. It's edible. You can eat the roots, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers.
Yeah.
You can eat this, everything on it.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Put it in a salad.
Yeah.
Or saute it.
Yeah. Stop spraying your lawns, folks, and start eating your greens.
Right? Forget about your Wheaties. Eat your greens.
Yes.
Don't forget this kind of green.
Absolutely.
The most important one, right? That's what we're here for. So anyways, it's been a great show. We're going to carry on that other story for next week. We'll do that. And it's another interesting one as well about the history of cannabis. Just give you guys a little sneak peek on that. So thank you just for joining us here this week, everyone, on Ganja News Update on NOK Network, and for joining our or for tuning in to our video podcast on NOK Network's Rumble and YouTube pages, as well as our social media sites.
That's right, folks. We hope you enjoyed your update today of mainstream media coverage of cannabis news and information from around the globe.
And many thanks to our amazing sponsors for making this show possible. And don't forget to check them out, folks, in your spare time. And thank you to my joint host right on over here, Tara Simpson, and to you, our listeners, for joining us here each week on Meducation Mondays on with Ganja News Update on NOK Network. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Ganja me meditation, ganja my pain. Ganja we take away my stress and strain. Ganja me meditation, ganja in my brain. Marijuana take away my stress and pain. Ganja me meditation, ganja in my brain. Marijuana take away the stress and pain. Ganja is the medication, ganja is the cure. Police of them a fight the marijuana for sure. Purify me essence and they make me feel pure. 100 way to Cali, we be bring it on tour. Ganja in the meditation, ganja in my clothes. No offense, I'm smoking another one around you.